Now, in 3D, I am simplifying things a great deal here. We're not going to talk about muscles this semester, that's beyond the scope of this class, but I've moved into my side view so I can talk a little bit about how the skeleton is going to react with your model. And you can see that I've traced out my joints here in this red color, so there's the hip, the knee, the ankle, the ball of the foot, and the toes. And then I've got the bones highlighted in orange. The bones are a little bit less important, but we will come back to them in just a touch. I've started a new layer, I've got a new color, and what I'm going to do next is I'm going to draw more or less what the edge flow of a 3D model of a leg would look like. And this will be extremely approximate. So maybe I will put a few edge loops here along the thigh. And then we'll come down into the knee, and maybe those loops will get a little bit tighter because there's some creasing here. Right there. Then they'll probably loosen up as we go through the calf. All the way down through the leg. I'm sure that this is just thrilling for you to watch. Maybe we'll get tighter again in the ankle, looser again through the foot, and then we break off into the toes. Let's not think about toes. Toes are really hard. Of course, those are just my horizontal loops. I still have to come through and put in my vertical loops. And you'll see that I am paying a little bit of attention to my joints as I do this, because a good rigger pays attention to their model and tries to line up the joints within the geometry. And of course, a good modeler pays attention to anatomy when they're making their model so that the edges line up conveniently for the joints. The thing that you may not have known already is that every single vertex contains its own unique world-space coordinate. So each vertex has a name. Their names are not really exciting names. Their names tend to be things like V1, V2, V3. I'll give them some other names. We'll call the next one maybe V4, V5, V6. That probably won't confuse you. And each one of them knows their own X, Y, Z coordinate. So these names are unique, these placements are unique. The way that the joint controls the vertices is through a thing called a placement matrix. So let's pull up another color, and maybe I'll just make another layer here and fill it with white so that you can see my drawings better. Let's turn its opacity down so you can still see a bit of the skeleton. There, lovely. So this placement matrix concept, let me come over here and say placement matrix. Oh, that green color is just awful. Let's make that a little darker. Okay. So a placement matrix. I'm sure that you've heard about matrices in other classes, like you've taken a math class and you were forced in that math class to draw a matrix. And you know that what it looks like is a bunch of square brackets, an open and a close, and inside that bracket you get a bit of a data set. So here at the hip joint, maybe V1, V2, V3 are in the data set for the hip. And then maybe I have a second data set here for the knee, And this one controls V4, V5, V6. And each of these vertices is called by name, but we assume that its XYZ coordinates are associated with that name. The thing that makes these placement matrices really great is that I can have my vertices listed in multiple sets. So maybe we continue on and say V4, V5, and V6 are in both sets, and then maybe V7, V8, and V9 are unique to the knee. So maybe 7, 8, and 9 are on this edge loop, 4, 5, and 6 are on this edge loop, and that goes for both of these. They're the same vertices, they're just being influenced by two separate joints, and 1, 2, 3 are up here and being influenced only by the hip. The idea that your vertices can exist in different placement matrices at the same time gives us the idea of influence or weight. Influence or weight is how much control a joint has over a vertex. So if these two are weighted equally to both of these two joints, they will move whenever both of these joints move, giving you a blend between the two joints. That can be helpful in areas like the knee, where you want the vertices to bend, as opposed to areas like the hip, where you really want these vertices to be controlled only by this joint. So the new things that we're learning here are that joints control vertices rather than models. The vertices exist in a placement matrix, and the placement matrix allows us to adjust the influence or weight that each joint has over each vertex. This process is known as skin binding. So let me get that in maybe a nice bright orange color, and we will write that out here, and we will say skin binding. Well, my orange plan didn't work, but I spelled binding correctly, so there's that. So 3 vocabulary terms. Skin binding. Skin binding connects vertices, not models, but vertices, to joints. The vertices live inside placement matrices, and that allows you, as a rigger, to control the influence or weight that each joint has over each vertex.